college football defenses entering the 2025 season. You're not going to agree with this list. In fact, you might hate it. And that's exactly what makes it worth watching. Heading into the 2025 college football season, the race for defensive dominance is tighter than it's been in years. Programs are rebuilding, reloading, and reinventing their identities on the defensive side of the ball. And while some are leaning on seasoned veterans, others are betting everything on breakout sophomores and freakishly talented freshmen. Here's the thing. Defense in college football is changing. Gone are the days when simply having a good front four and a ball-hawking safety was enough. In today's game, it's about top 10 versatility, depth, and creating chaos for 60 straight minutes. Whether it's forcing turnovers, bringing exotic blitzes, or simply locking up in man coverage and daring you to beat them, the top units have figured it out. But this list? It isn't about who was great last year. It's about who's built to shut down the country's most explosive offenses this year. And spoiler alert, a few former powerhouses didn't even crack the top 10. We dug deep. Stats, film, coaching changes, returning production, transfer portal wins, and, most importantly, upside. Some names will feel familiar, others not so much. But every one of these defenses has the potential to wreck an opponent's game plan and turn Saturdays into nightmares. So before you dive into the comments to flame your least favorite rival or demand to know where your team landed, hear us out. You might be surprised who made the cut, and who didn't. Let's get into it. What makes a great defense in 2025? In 2025, defense is about more than just stopping the run or keeping points off the board. It's about disruption. The best defenses today don't just react, they attack. They force mistakes, dictate tempo, and make quarterbacks wish they'd stayed in bed. The most telling stat? Points allowed. Yardage is overrated. It doesn't matter how many first downs you give up if you're stingy in the red zone and ruthless on third down. And the elite units? They're doing it with speed, depth, and relentless pursuit. Another key? Returning production. Continuity matters. If your core linebackers are back, your communication is tighter. If your edge rushers already know the scheme, the pressure hits faster. Teams that return high-level starters with experience under the same defensive coordinator? Those are the ones to watch. Then there's the transfer portal. In today's game, a single off-season addition can flip a defense. Whether it's a veteran safety with 30-plus starts or a freakish defensive end who couldn't crack the rotation at Georgia, the portal can plug holes and elevate talent fast. We also looked at coaching changes, both good and bad. A brilliant coordinator can take a mid-tier defense and make it elite. But a new system, no matter how smart, can lead to early season breakdowns if the personnel isn't ready. That's why even talented teams with coordinator shakeups were judged a little more cautiously here. Finally, we factored in something that doesn't show up on the stat sheet. Identity. Some teams just play defense with a certain edge. They hit harder. They communicate better. They force the issue. And they bring that mentality every single down. So when you see who cracked the top 10 and who didn't, remember this. It's not about who had the biggest names or the highest ranked recruits. It's about who's built to dominate this season. Honorable mentions. Not every elite defense could crack the top 10. In fact, a few just missed by inches. These honorable mentions are stacked with talent, but they've got a few question marks that kept them on the outside looking in. Indiana shocked everyone last season with a top-tier defensive performance. Malik Chmura off the edge is a monster, and Aiden Fisher brings leadership in the middle. But key losses knock them down for now. Iowa is always elite thanks to Phil Parker. Fundamentally sound, disciplined, and turnover-hungry. But they lost their top tackler and safety, just enough to slide them out of the top 10. South Carolina brings the heat with Dylan Stewart off the edge. But losing their interior strength raises major red flags. Replacing that firepower won't be easy. Nebraska is trending up. New DC John Butler brings aggression. The linebackers are rock solid, but D-line depth is a concern. Tennessee is deep but missing their alpha. Injuries in the secondary and key departures up front leave questions. But the upside, legit. 10. Clemson. The Silent Killers. TJ Parker is a wrecking ball. Peter Woods returns to his natural spot inside. And Tom Allen's arrival as DC changes everything. The Tigers have elite pieces at every level. Woodaz, Sammy Brown, Terrell, Barnes. But it's their newfound depth and scheme that elevate them. If they stay healthy, Clemson will bully their way into the playoff conversation. 9. Oregon. Reloaded and ruthless. Oregon's identity? Rotation, speed, relentless pressure. Mateo Uliang and Tatum Tuioti are a nightmare duo off the edge. Bear Alexander gives them an interior force. Dylan Thieneman adds brains and leadership in the secondary. Tosh Lupoi's aggressive system thrives with depth. And the Ducks have it in waves. 8. Michigan. Built for brutality. No stars, no problem. Michigan wins with depth, coaching, and violence. Martindale's second year means more aggression. TJ Guy, Derek Moore, Ernest Hausman, and Deshaun Barham form a core that punishes. This group isn't flashy, but it's going to hurt people. 7. Oklahoma. Finally, a defense to match the hype. Brent Venables is back calling plays, and that's bad news for everyone else. The D-line is nasty with Williams, Halton, Stone, and Jackson. Marvin Jones Jr. and R. Mason Thomas are sack machines. Kip Lewis is the heart of the linebacker room. They're finally fast, smart, and violent again. 6. Alabama, youth forged in fire. Overton, Rusaw, Keenan, Lawson, Jefferson, Brown, Sabbath. They were babies last year. Now they're killers. Year 2 under Kane Womack brings clarity. No more confusion. Just pure, organized aggression. And that makes Alabama dangerous again. 5. Notre Dame. Depth, discipline, dominance. This defense doesn't blink. Boubacar Traore and Botelho bring edge juice. Drake Bowen is the new heart of the linebackers. The secondary is young, deep, and fast. And Chris Ash steps into a system built to thrive. Notre Dame replaces talent like a machine, and this year's model might be their fastest ever. 4. Georgia. The factory never closes. Kirby Smart's machine rolls on. Christian Miller and Jordan Hall anchor the interior. Raylan Wilson and C.J. Allen roam the middle. Dalen Everett and K.J. Bolden keep the back end locked. No stars? Doesn't matter. This depth is unmatched. 3. Penn State, the silent sledgehammer. Jim Knowles plus Penn State equals chaos. Denied Dennis Sutton and Zane Durant are back. The linebackers are deep and experienced, and the secondary, led by A.J. Harris, is built to clamp down. Tough, smart, balanced. This might be the year they break through. 2. Ohio State, NFL, talent everywhere. Caleb Downs, Sonny Styles, Denzel Burke, Jermaine Matthews, Ty Hamilton, Cody Simon. New DC, Matt Patricia brings structure and NFL simplicity. And with this much talent, execution is all they need. Once the front gels, this group could go from great to legendary. First, Texas, the Nightmare Unit. Anthony Hill, Trey Moore, Colin Simmons, 3 monsters. One mission, destruction. Texas has it all. Depth, experience, youth, explosiveness. Pete Kwiatkowski's 5-year plan is now a full-blown menace. This is the best defense in the country, period. Conclusion. There you have it. The 10 most dangerous defenses entering the 2025 season. Disagree? Good. That means you care. But bookmark this list. By mid-season, it might be prophecy. And don't miss next week, the top 10 most explosive offenses in 2025. Because this year, the fireworks are just getting started.